I move on to Miss Pooja Walia, that what is she has to say, as very rightly Mr. Sudhir said, that they'll be giving us the real picture as they are in the scenario. Yes, Miss Pooja.
Yeah, so I guess after the brief explanation that Mr. Sudhir has given, I would like to ask this question to all the audience first. Recently, India bought certain cheetahs from Namibia. So can we ponder and discuss why only Namibia? Why not any other country than Namibia? I'm sure you'll be forced to think. And this is just a way to build that curiosity so that you dig into the things. And this is what I call as inquiry-based learning.
Excellent, excellent. I think, ma'am, you summed up by giving example and actually demonstrating what inquiry-based learning then is. Thank you so much. Thank you. To our principals, we move on to Miss Pooja. Miss Pooja, even though accepted as one of the best pedagogies, the IBL can become time consuming and it can hamper the curriculum progression calendar for a teacher. As we were discussing, that if suddenly a question comes, or even if we are integrating this in our curriculum, can you suggest and highlight some common obstacles, first of all, which emerge in the implementation of the inquiry-based learning? What could be those?
Right. So I think I'll start with the first concern which our young panelists have mentioned. I think a good teacher is the one who will make option available in the teaching plan that these are the minutes in one period which I'll dedicate to taking the doubts of the class. Number one, I think this way the teacher would not say ki chalo aapse baad mein baat karte hain. So our lesson plan can incorporate that section of interaction with the students wherein the students are encouraged to ask a question. That's number one. Number two is the theme of our discussion is inquiry based. So that means the pedagogy or the teaching methodology of a teacher should be such that we ignite the curiosity amongst the young minds. So my question I should not wait for the questions from the students after my lecture is over. Rather, I should start my lecture with a question so that my children are actually curious to know more. Maybe it is guided learning, as Gosha ma'am said. I may probably throw a question and ask them to read at home and come back in the next class morning tomorrow. And we start with the answers which they have collected the day before. Or during my delivery of lecture, I may ask a question. And then I, myself gradually build up that curiosity in them to listen to my answers and hints which I'll be giving. So it's kind of sharing the chunk of information very, very slowly and on periodicity within that one lecture. Teachers are, artists, so we need to time management should be one sense where we are able to articulate our ideas to the students. So if anybody is facing an obstacle like that, it's the management part or planning part that needs to be probably done first. Yes, there can be vagueness. For example, when I asked about this question of the cheetahs being bought from Namibia, my focus area is that my child should be able to probably think of the geographical climatic conditions between the two countries, or maybe the political equations between the two countries, or the political equation of the ruling party in the country. So that's exactly what I want my students to ponder upon when they get me the answer of this question. So I think a good teacher would always streamline so that the child is not distracted from the main topic which I want my child to be curious about. Otherwise, it is haywire. There are a lot of things that they can think and come up with.
Great. Thank you so much, ma'am. My next question is to Vrinda. Vrinda, as a student, for example, if I'm more interested in understanding why and how of something, but that is not enough to secure marks because, I'm unable to articulate answers as per the expectations of the teachers. So, this is the gap. Like I am curious and I'm interested in understanding, But then when I start writing, I'm not getting marks. So the first ping to the curiosity balloon is, when you don't get marks. You may have all the curiosity in the world, but your report card says you're not performing. So what do you have to say on this? How would you tackle this problem?
Ma'am, it's like the classic human behavior. The problem of not being able to articulate the answers of certain questions, but knowing the concept is actually the most common problems among students, including me. I wouldn't really call it a problem because according to me, conceptual learning is the most important part of learning. But in the work fields and the schools, it's really important to not only know the concepts, but also write it down and express it. Just so the other people know that what we are talking about and that the concept is clear to us. The right words, we need the right words to make people understand our point, and that the concept that we know is actually that we know it. It's just that. Now the problem is, how do we fix it? The first way of solving the problem is by redoing the same concept over and over and over again. As we know, the Rome wasn't built in a day. And it takes time for a seed to grow, but we do have to nourish it every day. So for us, we should redo the concepts again and again. And the second way, according to me, should be that you should repeat the concept, the questions, and or as well as the answers in the mirror, or say it out to yourself loud, so that you trust in yourself and have enough confidence that what you're writing and the concept you know is the right one. And I would also like to bring the concept of the practical learning, that if we know the concept and we also know that how it practically worked, so then we'll be able to write it down, because I think it's the best way of doing it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vrinda. I want to ask you this. Don't you think that why we give so much importance to writing, why can't we change the assessment pattern to more of practical? Because I might know the concept, I understand, I know I'm very good at hands-on, but my limit, I'm not able to express it on paper, does not mean that I do not know. So do you think, could the pattern of assessment be changed, testing pattern? Practical marks for that particular concept could be more, and the theory could be more objective. So there is a win-win situation for everyone. Do you think it can work? Yes, Vrinda.
Yes, ma'am. I think that will work.
Great, great. Thank you so much, Vrinda. And ma'am, could you please mute yourself? IQ and EQs. So, Ms. Pooja, what do you have to say about the curiosity?
So I believe, ma'am, that curiosity quotient for a teacher, if we intend to increase that amongst our students, the first thing is that we should be curious ourselves. In any case, the CBSE has, with this NEP now coming up, interdisciplinary approach is encouraged. So that means I can't restrict myself only to the subject domain that I have studied or I am teaching. Probably going beyond our existing pool of knowledge, linking it to certain things that we don't know. So probably even amongst our children, there are certain things that they know, certain things that they don't know, starting from the known and then gradually taking them to the unknown, or maybe the other way around, bombarding them with unknown questions and then trying to link it with the knowledge that they already possess. These are certain things which I believe can help in increasing the curiosity. I completely agree with Mr. Sudhir that games or quizzes or puzzles, these are fantastic ways of, depending upon the age group, depending upon the subject or the topic to be delivered, these are some beautiful techniques that a teacher can intelligently incorporate in certain topics which they are discussing in the class. I don't know, many people may disagree with me, but I think that sometimes even controversy creates a lot of curiosity. So I can contradict a point made in my class by some student, and it will definitely turn out to be a good debate. So even that can be one of the intelligently used tools, not very frequently, but sometimes. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very well said. Ronit, I want you to elaborate on this, that, often creativity is not appreciated. How much is it appreciated in your, I wouldn't say school, amongst your class group, when, being creative means you have to go beyond the textbooks. You are then innovative. You are thinking critically. You are questioning the set patterns. So if I'm creative, how accepted I am in the classrooms? Ronit?
Yeah. First of all, being creative is not a sin. And I think preferably in my class, no one just says, actually, I am also a creative person. I most probably, when I actually love maths and science a lot. So whenever I ask my teachers maths and science questions, yes, the same problem which you discussed in the starting, that is it a problem to ask them in between? Yes, I think that is kind of a, because that disturbs the curriculum of the class. Otherwise, ending it, asking the question in the end is a bit better. And I must say that I have the stars to being creative. That is really good for me. Because creativity, it's just at a different level. Yes, it has to go beyond the books, but it is combined with the learning and reading. Like for the same, the government has the NEP, the new education policy, which was introduced by the government. It also encourages the students to learn, use their creativity in learning and writing so that they can change their daily life and make their daily routine a better one. And in this modern era, I don't think that creativity is separated from learning and writing. So, for a great example, I would take our former president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He used his creativity to read and learn more about physics. And this creativity of his led him to knowledge, and that knowledge led him to curiosity, and curiosity invoked inquiry, which finally led in making him the missile man of India. And this tells that if you are curious is the right way that we can easily change the world too. And this is also a great example of inquiry-based learning, which is the leading topic of our today's discussion. I would also suggest to go through a book, Chanakya, in the classroom by Radhakrishnan Pillai. I also read this book and I found it very interesting, and it provides a person with the answers that how can you use your creativity in your studies. And to conclude with, I would like to take the quote of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, that learning gives creativity. Creativity leads to thinking, and thinking leads to the knowledge, and knowledge makes you great. Thank you, ma'am.
Great, very well said, very well said. And I'm very happy that you all are very aware about being, about the curiosity and understand, to go beyond the textbooks. What will be your suggestions, Ms. Pooja, to our student viewers today and to the educators, whichever you would want to choose?
I think whatever I say is effectively applicable to both the groups, because we are not only teachers, we are learners as well. So I think I'll come down to the immediate milestone which our student viewers here will be reaching, that is their board exams very soon. Apart from whatever discussion we've had about the inquiry-based or curiosity-based learning, even the CBSE is now encouraging it. As a part of testing the critical thinking, we have case-based questions in almost every subject of class 12th. We have higher order thinking questions in both 10th and 12th. Now, both these types of questions, or the competency-based questions, the purpose of framing such questions is that we move away from the rote learning and go to the conceptual clarity and understanding of the concepts. Now, this is exactly what is sought when we are discussing a topic like inquiry-based learning. It is just learning is one part of giving an assessment, is evaluating whether that curiosity thing fulfilled the objective. So I think with this long-term retention would also be possible if we are able to encourage. It's not just about asking questions. It is about, intending to know more, a quest of more knowledge, trying to go beyond what is structured curriculum given to me in my hand. So this is probably one thing wherein both students and teachers I'd like to focus on. And before I say bye and conclude for my term, I have one last question. I can't go without asking a question. I'd request all the audience to punch in the answer in the chat box. Today is 4th of November. Please tell me, why is it important for India? And a hint, it is important only since 2017. Please tell me, why is the day important for us? Thanks.
Great. That was very nice of you to have this engaging conversation. Thank you, Pooja ma'am. Yes, by the time the audience punch in the questions, the answer to the question which Pooja ma'am has asked, thank you so much for sharing your inputs, our dear panelists. A big round of applause for our student panelists today. And we shall see you soon. We come to the end of this session of today's webinar. We shall see you soon with another newer episode, another new panel, another city, and another set of buzzing youth. Thank you so much, and I shall take your leave today.